Imagine holding a heavy stone in your hand. The longer you hold it, the more it strains your arm. Eventually, you can't feel your hand, your wrist, maybe even your shoulder starts aching. Yet you do not immediately notice you are holding it. You've become accustomed to its weight. You begin to believe the strain is you. In life, suffering is a lot like that weight. We may live with its burden so long that we forget it's even there, and we come to identify ourselves with it. Zen Buddhism says that awareness alone can shift our relationship with suffering, loosening its grip. But more than that liberation from suffering isn't a distant prize. It's something available here and now. Welcome to the Unfolding Journey YouTube channel. Here, we explore deep spiritual teachings, practical philosophies, and timeless wisdom that help us awaken, grow, and live more peacefully. If you're curious about inner transformation, mindful living, and finding freedom from what holds you back, you're in the right place. I'm glad you've joined this unfolding journey. What is suffering in Zen Buddhism? In Zen, the concept of suffering is not merely physical pain or obvious distress. It's the existential unease, the dissatisfaction that arises from attachment, ignorance, and craving. Buddhism at large talks about dukkha, often translated as suffering, unsatisfactoriness, or stress, but Zen leans into how this manifests concretely in our perceptions and illusions. Suffering in Zen comes from clinging to permanence in a world of change. We expect people, things, identity, and ideas to stay the same, yet everything shifts. Identification with thoughts and emotions. We believe, I am my thoughts, and thus suffer when thoughts or feelings don't align with our hopes. Resistance to what is. We want life to be other than it is, more comfortable, more certain, more controllable, which leads to frustration, disappointment, fear. Zen does not bypass suffering. It faces it directly, with clear awareness. It holds up a mirror asking, where do you resist? What do you hold on to? When do you fight what's already here? The roots of suffering, craving, ignorance, and delusion. Zen inherits from broader Buddhist teachings the idea that suffering has causes. Among these, craving or desire, tanha, is central, as is ignorance, misunderstanding the true nature of self, reality, impermanence, interdependence. Craving/attachment, wanting things to be a certain way, wanting permanent pleasure, holding tightly to identities. Ignorance, not seeing things as they actually are, believing in a fixed self, mistaking transient phenomena for permanent. Delusion, living in dualistic thinking, this versus that, good versus bad, self versus other, instead of seeing the non-dual, interconnected flow. It is through these that suffering perpetuates itself. We grasp, we fear, we resist, we imagine separateness. Zen practice often points us to wake up from those illusions. Liberation. What does Zen mean by freedom? Liberation in Zen is not a far-off goal. It's often called kenshō, seeing one's true nature, or satori, awakening. It means realizing non-duality, dropping the illusion of a separate self, and living in accord with what is. Some key features of what liberation involves in Zen. Present awakening. Instead of waiting for some future event, the transformation happens when insight arises, sometimes suddenly, sometimes gradually, about what is always already true. Letting go, releasing attachment, craving, identity illusions. Letting go of judgment and resistance, just seeing things as they are. Pure awareness, seeing thoughts, sensations, emotions as phenomena, not as who you are. Becoming less dominated by the reactive patterns of wanting, rejecting. Compassion and non-separation. Once the illusion of me and other softens, there is a natural compassion because in some sense other beings are not fundamentally separate from you. Zen masters often point out that even liberation is not something you gain as though acquiring an object. Rather, it is the removal of what hides your true nature, like cloud. Practice. How Zen aims to realize liberation. To move from suffering to liberation, Zen offers practices, methods of insight, not merely theoretical teachings. Some of these include Zazen, seated meditation, sitting with open awareness, observing thoughts, sensations, resisting less, resting in stillness. Mindfulness in daily life, bringing presence to ordinary acts, eating, walking, cleaning, so we are less lost in rumination or craving. Koan/paradoxical inquiry, meditative puzzles, stories, or questions that loosen rigid conceptual thinking and point beyond intellect to direct insight. Non-attachment to doctrines. Even the teachings of Zen are pointers, not final cages. One must test, see, live them, not cling to any fixed idea. Through such practices, insight arises, The weight we carry becomes visible, its grip loosens, and gradually, or sometimes all at once, the burden falls away. Common misconceptions and challenges. Even when one begins to walk the Zen path, there are common pitfalls and misunderstandings. Believing suffering will disappear completely and permanently. Even awakened ones suffer, but suffering is not identified with them. Awareness transforms the relationship. Thinking liberation is an achievement of self-will, power, or special status. Zen emphasizes humility, letting go of ego's role, getting stuck in experiences or peak moments, and wanting more of them, instead of seeing them as passing phenomena. Over-intellectualizing the teachings, confusing concepts for realization. Zen loves pointing to experience, not theory. Integration, living liberated in everyday life. What happens when one integrates Zen insight into daily living? You begin to respond rather than react. Situations still arise, pain, loss, fear, but your mind is less bound by stories, less frantic, more spacious. There is greater peace in uncertainty. Impermanence is deeply felt but no longer feared as something totally alien or unbearable. Compassion naturally arises. Recognizing your own suffering loosens the boundary to others' suffering. Kindness becomes a way of being. Actions become aligned. With less clinging, your values, your compassion, your clarity direct your life more than your fears do. Suffering is part of the human condition. But Zen doesn't leave it there. It offers a path to liberate ourselves from being bound by it. Through awareness, insight, letting go, and daily practice, we begin to see the weight, drop it, and rest in something more spacious, more awake. Thank you for joining me in this exploration of how Zen Buddhism views suffering and liberation. If you found something here that resonates, that shifts your view even a little, I encourage you to stay with it, practice, reflect, notice. If you'd like more videos exploring Zen practice, meditative inquiry, and spiritual insight, subscribe to the Unfolding Journey channel. Hit the bell so you don't miss the next video. May your path be open, may your heart be awake, may liberation be felt in every moment.